Hey, welcome. My name is Josh Lockhart. This is FFL Gloves Off. This is our weekly podcast. Every week we bring top producers, people that are crushing it in the life insurance game. And this week I have a good friend of mine, Mr. Barry Rowe. We've been working together, and this guy just continually gets better every single week. The people that he's helping, the policies putting in force, the premiums going up, the families helped are going up every single week. And just thought that he had a lot to share, and so wanted to jump on and talk today. But hey, Barry, glad to have you, man. You doing all right?
Yeah, doing good. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Just you know the game. We're out here, talking to people, trying to help them.
Absolutely.
But for those that don't know, if you could just kind of let us know, like I know you have a big background of insurance. This is
hmm
here at FFL, this is not something that's new to you. So
Right.
kind of what have you been doing over the last number of years?
Sure. Well, actually, the FFL business is really new to me, believe it or not. I've been in the insurance business for 25 years, probably. But most of that was spent doing payroll deduction, group business. So sort of the AFLAC type of coverage where you go in, talk to a group of employees, offer them cancer, accident, disability, vision, all that good stuff. I did that done forever, the whole time pretty much that I've been in the business. And it's good business, and a lot of people do really well in it. I did pretty well in it. I just kind of started getting burnt out, I guess. I found myself becoming an administrator more than a salesperson, and I felt like I was always filing claims and putting out fires and dealing with issues. But I didn't know anything else. I didn't know what else I would do. It's all I knew. And I did not know that there was a business like this. I've heard, of course, I knew about whole life insurance and I knew about term life insurance, sold a little bit of it in groups. But whenever, every once in a while, I would get a call from a customer, maybe a former employee who said, "Hey, Barry, I had some coverage with you. I need to get some life insurance." And I had a guy here locally that I would call, and I'd say his name was Hank. I'd say, "Hank, I've got a lady. She's this old. She wants this much coverage." He'd get me some quotes. He'd send me the info. I'd go see her, take an app. It's a $50 a month premium, maybe. Then we'd order, a paramed exam. They'd come draw blood. By the time it's all over with, a month later, if it's approved, the great news is I'd, receive about 70% of $50 on an as earned basis every month. So, because of that, I just never really, I didn't think there was a way really to make any significant money selling individual life insurance. Now I say that saying, I will say this, my dad was a great life insurance salesman. He was more of a financial planner though. So
Yeah.
his clients were, wealthy people and stuff. And, I knew there was a way to make money in the life business individually, but that was the only way I knew of. And I'm not cut out for that. That's just not my niche. So,
Yeah, it's so funny you say that. So,
mhm.
I first got involved in life insurance 15 years ago,
Yeah.
and it was nothing like what we're doing today, right?
hmm
It was, like you said, blood draws, stuff like that. You had to go write a bunch of policies, wouldn't get paid for a long time. Half of them
hmm
wouldn't issue, half of them wouldn't do their paramed stuff.
Right. Come
And
back with a higher rate.
yeah. And then, the compensation was 30%,
Right.
50%. And I knew a bunch of people that kind of went the financial planner route, right? We sit
hmm
down, we do all your stuff and Series 6 and all these things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that just seems like, I don't know,
hmm
too much. And then did the PNC thing for a while, for a number of years. And
hmm
that was my major gripe is I felt like a paper pusher.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I'm like, what did I do to help people or make money? And it was literally just, can you save me 15% in 15 minutes? Change the red car from the blue car, and you do that
Yeah.
all day. And you're like, I've provided no value to the world. That's
Right.
how I felt, I'm not
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
business. That's just,
No, same here. And you know, and working that group business, especially, it just so, the thing about it is, again, it's a good business, but the key to that is you got to keep getting new business. You got to keep opening groups and stuff. And while I was sort of overwhelmed with the whole thing, I kept doing it. And then when COVID hit, my gosh, that's just an excuse for every employer in the world to say, hey, we're not letting anybody in anymore.
Yeah.
And so during that time, I mean, my business just, I kept what I had, but I was not adding new business. And, I was just like, gosh, I guess I'm just going to have to suffer through this. And fortunately, it was about that time that I was approached and, about FFL. And when I heard the basics, hey, highest contract, simplified issue, um, you know, advanced commissions, I was like, dang, sign me up. That's all I needed to know. And so anyway, here I
Yeah,
am.
I was the same way. I was like, wait a minute, like over 100%, there's leads, simple issue, get paid the next day. Like I can deal with that. Yeah. And I just thought, so I heard that, like most of the policies written were like, $80 a month, $100 a month, that was the average. That's like $1,000 a year. They
Right.
advance you 75%. And I was like, well, that's pretty good. Like, you write 10 of those, 75% of 10, up front, that's good money. But then, you really start seeing like what, some of these numbers that some of us are putting up like here and there. And it's like, and they all come from people who filled out forms, which blows me away. Right. Like you can talk to somebody who is, on a fixed income. And then your next meeting or your next call is somebody who's worth a few $1,000,000 and they were both a $6 lead.
Right. Yeah.
Blows me away. Yeah. So, so as far as like, what was like the transition like for you getting involved from kind of thinking about how you did business that way and now kind of what you're doing?
Well, I'll tell you, when I first got contracted, I actually had to wait a couple of weeks because the person who contracted me didn't even have an insurance license. I mean, the person who got me involved, he was working on taking his test. Here I am, been in the business for 25 years, and the guy recruiting me doesn't even have a license. So I had to wait for him to get that done. But and by the way, just as a side note, I think he's taking notes on this. Just because somebody's in the insurance business does not mean that they know all about what we're doing here at FFL, because I did not have a clue, as I said before. So, but yeah, I was excited. I did, went through the boot camp and I was watching videos and making notes and doing everything until I could get to the point where I could actually start making calls. And so there was probably about almost a month where I was just antsy, and I just couldn't wait. And embarrassingly, I'll tell you what my thought was. I thought, I've been in this business for so long. I'm going to do like these other people I see. I'm going to come out my first month and I'll make, 50 grand. I'll make $500,000 my first year. And this is going to be easy. And found out pretty quick that I don't know the first thing about selling, whole life and final expense and all this. I did not know. And, so there was definitely a learning curve there. As the most important part though of the whole business is the phones, setting appointments and stuff. And so I'm pretty much phone sale, telesales now, but I started out just like everybody else, dial days, Monday and Thursday, setting the appointments. My mistake probably was I didn't jump on the live dials. I didn't do that deal. Probably should have. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I was probably too embarrassed to do it. But, I tried to learn by watching others, but I was not a good dialer. I would what got me is I would set appointments, maybe 5 or 6. I'd go out there and 3 or 4 of them would stand me up and I'd get mad at them, for standing me up. And then when I started thinking about it, I was like, well, you know what? You didn't cement that appointment. You didn't do the things that you could have done. So there was a very long, or it seemed long, to me. I've only been in this for about 11 months now, but it seemed like a very long time that it took me to kind of figure out, how to set appointments, how to get in and sit with them, and then hopefully how to close them. And, it's just been kind of a learning we're still learning. You and I were talking before we started. I'm still trying to figure this thing out. But having said that, I mean, it's going pretty well and it is getting better every month. As you said, of course, where I was a few months ago, it doesn't take much to get better. But it is getting better. It's getting better every month. So, and the great thing about this is, gosh, my other business, if I need to get a if I need to get a new group, that could be a several meetings, several month process just to finally get in the door versus, what we're doing. We get off the phone or off the computer today. I could go out and make several $1,000s if things go my way today. It's just crazy.
It's so funny. I had one of our other agents say to me today, he said he goes, when people ask me how it's going, he's like, I'm making like a low 6-figure, is kind of where he's at. And he goes, people are like, hey, how's it going? He's like, yeah, it's like, I'm barely making like a 6-figure pace. And, my team leaders feel bad for me that I'm not having more success and making real money.
Yeah. It's a whole different deal, whole different deal. But, there's a lot of challenges to the business and a lot of hurdles. And, for me, my biggest enemy has been me, just my mindset, when I don't do well or when I haven't done well or somebody stood me up. Yeah, just really, a lot of times I let that really get to me. And I've heard Jamie Cheerio and others say, you can't get emotional about this business. And it's true, but it's hard. It's hard not to get emotional about it. I get my feelings hurt. Really?
Yeah, for sure. Well, something we were just talking about before we started, I was listening to a guy named Ryan Reynolds, and what he does, I thought this was interesting because when I was in the field, this was easier. And then on telesales, like you can kind of find yourself where you don't have like a strict schedule.
Right.
I think that can kind of mess you up. But what he was saying was he would book all of his appointments in like a 6 or 7 hour block, meaning let's say he's on the West Coast, so he'd start at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Eastern time. And you would do 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you would book them all back to back to back. So where if he got stood up or he got told no, he didn't have time to think about it.
Right.
Because he had another appointment.
Yeah.
And I know when I was in the field, like full time, so I'm kind of, trying to convert to telesales with hang out with you guys. Right. But the days where it was the best was I was just too busy. Like if somebody told me no or stood me up, I had another appointment that I was probably running late for that I had to drive to. I didn't even have time to think about it.
Yeah.
It was the days where you didn't have enough appointments, where you just spend all your time in the car.
Oh man,
you're like,
I've sat in the Walmart parking lot, many times going, golly, what am I going to do for the next? I don't have enough time to go knock on doors, and I don't really want to do that. And so what am I going to do for the next hour and a half? And hopefully the next one's going to be there.
So one of the things, like I heard people doing this, and it freaked me out because, like, I think you and I are probably from the same sales era, where like we had some stuff pounded in our heads, right? Like, you show up on time, you dress a certain way, like all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a big stickler for like being on time. And so when I started, I would book my appointments, like I'd look at the drive time and look at this and make sure I'm exactly on time. And I spaced them out. But if one no-showed me, I'd have a massive gap.
Yeah.
And eventually I got sick of it. And I just started going like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right. And it's like this one I'd run a little late on, this one I'd get early, but like my day was full.
Yeah. In hindsight, that's the way to do it, the way I should have done it. And you tell them, hey, allow me this window, and that handles it. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Cause after all, they fill out the form, they want the coverage. I'd say most everybody, like once you get past like the initial knee jerk of like calling them on the phone, like they're pretty easy going.
Yeah. I think that's true.
Yeah. So for anybody like listening, I guess what, you kind of talked about like some struggles and stuff like, so what do you think is outside of like the obvious, like leads and the comp and stuff that we talked about, just from like your day-to-day doing business, what's some differences between like what you used to do and now? Maybe it's, like is it faster pace, like that type of thing?
Yeah. Well, as far as between what I did prior to FFL and now, Now what I do is I get up really early, not because I'm, gung ho. I just can't sleep. The older I get, I go to bed late and I wake up early. So I'm up really early. So I kind of try to take care of whatever paperwork type stuff I need to do in the morning, get a game plan. I try to watch some little short motivational video on YouTube in the morning, just to kind of get me pumped up. I watch, not every morning, but quite often I'll watch a YouTube video, some type of training video about FFL stuff. But the biggest difference is I am not, again, during COVID, because I was cold calling businesses every day and being told, no, we're not going to let you come in for at least a year, which I understand, businesses didn't want their employees to die, right? Because I come in and get them all sick potentially.
Right.
I didn't have any other options. So every day I was just dialing the phone, being told no all the time. And then finally I was just like, I'm not even trying to sell anything. I'm going to just try to develop relationships so that a year from now I can do something. Well, just to be blunt, that sucks. That's a horrible way to be if you're in sales, right? And so now it's great. What I'm doing pretty much mostly live transfers. So about 9:30, 10 o'clock, I flip the switch on the live transfers and just wait for the calls to come in. And we were talking earlier, sometimes, you don't want to be sitting here twiddling your thumbs waiting for the phone to ring. So I've started kind of buying some, maybe some aged leads and texting those people and doing that in between calls and stuff. So it's the biggest difference is I actually know that I'm going to have at least an opportunity to help somebody make some money today versus, boy, I hope I can establish a relationship with this HR lady so that a year from now we might can do some business. So that's the difference.
Yeah, that's
significant.
That's like, I feel like that's the kiss of death for any salesperson in any realm. Yeah. It's like, hey, how's your day, week, month going? And I built some really great relationships. Yeah. Like, oh, you didn't make any money.
Right. I went to the business after hours and gave a few cards out and stuff. I always hated doing that stuff.
Yeah.
It never worked for me. I don't know.
In 2008, I was doing P&C, property and casualty.
Yep.
And perfect time to be in the home insurance business, right?
Yeah, right. And when it's crashing and burning, right?
Yeah. They said, go out and meet realtors and mortgage brokers, take them to lunch, wine them, dine them, and they'll refer you business.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that, spending all this money and time, and they're like, we're going out of business. We don't have any to give. I was like, this sucks. But so, something we were talking about, you've been in the business, around the business, you've been a business guy, sales guy for a long, long time. And something that when I heard what you were doing, I was very impressed because a lot of people, they say they want to get better, but they don't actually do anything to get better, right? They just, in their mind, they go, yeah, I'm going to work on it. But then they don't put themselves in maybe an uncomfortable situation or do the uncomfortable things to get better. And you've been doing that and it's been showing in the numbers. You had a really good week last week, I noticed. Yeah. But so something you've been doing is listening to you recording your dials and going back and listening to them. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. Yes. And I'll tell you how it started. Anyway, I don't know if all of them, but a lot of the live transfer companies do record your dials or your calls. And that's handy too, just in case, maybe you have to call somebody back and you're trying to remember now, what was she saying about her kid or whatever. You can play it back and refresh your memory. But I'll be honest with you, what happened was I made a sale to a lady and I was really impressed with how I did, I was very impressed with myself. So yeah, it's patting myself on the back. So my wife, I said, hey, I want you to hear this, you'll be impressed with your husband, So,
I can know where this, if your wife is remotely like mine, I know where this is going.
Yeah, she was like, okay. So she listened to it, and I was like, pretty good. Huh? Did you see how that one phrase I picked up from Josh, or this? She goes, yeah, but she goes, you say a lot. And I said, I do. She goes, yeah, you say a lot. And I went back and listened. I said, and I'm probably doing it today too. Don't even know it, but I said it like 100 times. on this call. So that was the first thing I did, was try to eliminate that. But then I started just listening, and I was listening to some other tapes, and I was like, is that even me on the phone? I'm going like, don't say that, you idiot. What are you doing? What are you, so it's humbling, number one, because, you don't realize some of the, and at least for me, some of the idiotic things I say. But, when you hear yourself say those things again, you remember that, and then you correct it next time. And so it has helped me, definitely.
Yeah.
If you get on the live dials, I think that's another way to do that. You have someone else do it. I just have not really, and really the reason I didn't get on the live dials much, two reasons. I told you one, which is kind of embarrassed, really. I'm just embarrassed to do it. But the other is I'm so not technically savvy that I was on live dials with you one time, and my other computer was over here, and I had a call come in, and I start talking to her, and then somebody unmutes over here, and I don't know who it was. Somebody's talking over here. I'm talking to this lady over here, and I'm panicking. I can't mute you guys out. And after that, I was just like, okay, I'm just not savvy enough technically to do it. So anyway.
I think there's probably some folks that fall into that category. But I mean, to your point though, like it's been great to give and receive coaching. We were talking about somebody I was able to literally, they are on a telesale in middle of a phone presentation. I was able to like kind of be there in the wing helping out.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's just those little tweaks. There was an agent we had that was setting a lot of appointments, and everyone would say, wow, they sound so good on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
but was having an incredible amount of no-shows, like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And recorded a bunch of their calls, and I listened to them, and there was like two little things in the call that they weren't doing quite right.
Mm-hmm.
It was like clearing the schedule and the way they were locking down the call. And I just pointed out and said, hey, let's just fix these two little things. And overnight, boom, that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just, that's the difference maker.
That person had their problem corrected in a day, and it probably took me 4 months to do the same thing. So I wouldn't recommend. I mean, it helps to hear yourself, but if that's the only way you're doing it, it's probably not the best way.
Yeah. I'd say set it to somebody,
Yeah.
Get a third party. A lot of times they pick up things that you don't. I know, like my wife will be, upstairs, so my office is downstairs, but she can hear me.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll be like, hey, what you said was really good. And other times she'll be like, why'd you say that? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. I think anybody who's really committed to the craft, they're going to get better. They'll help more families see their profitability go up. And so that's pretty exciting. So, I guess, what's on the horizon for you? Like if you don't mind sharing, maybe what's a goal or two that you're excited to kind of run down?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have not lost one bit of my enthusiasm for the business from day one. It's only gotten better. I haven't hit the levels that I would like to have hit by now, but I am, improving. My goal, as far as personally with FFL, is really simple. I just want to make one sale every day, one sale a day. If you do that 5 days a week, and if our average premium is $1,000, you do the math on that. $1,000, I think that's, how many thousands is that? 5,000 times 50. I think it's $250,000 is what that would be.
Yeah.
And one sale a day when you're doing live transfers really isn't asking a lot, and some of the premiums are a lot more than that, so that's personally, I just want to do that. I want to get to that, and then I'll move to the next thing. Eventually I'd love to write, become Hall of Fame status and all that. I really haven't started building the business side of it yet. I've recruited a couple of people, and that's a mistake too. I was told by everybody day one, don't wait, do it now. You don't have to be perfect to bring people in, and you don't. but I just didn't do it. I just felt like I wanted to have a good feel for what I was doing. So I've started doing that. So I don't really have any specific goals on that side of it. I do just want to, continue the building process. I don't feel like you have to do it really fast or anything like that. So that's it. Just
That's awesome.
Just keep getting better, bottom line. And I know I can do that. In my previous business life, I didn't know if I could get off the plateau I was on because there's so many other things in the way out there. But in this business, it's just all on me. I mean, if I make the calls, if I do the work, it'll happen.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. And because you just have more leads, right?
Yep.
You just get a few more, you call a few more, like that's it.
Doesn't work out this week, work the weekend, do whatever you got to do. So.
Yeah, that's it. Well, man, I appreciate you hopping on. It's always great.
Glad to do it.
Glad to do it. Yeah. If anybody, did want to reach out to you and find out more, could they do that? Would you work with them?
Absolutely. If there's anybody out there that wants to learn more about how not to do this business, I'm so happy to help. But yeah, they can give me a call, Barry, 501-733-3079. I'll be glad to help anybody if I can. Yeah, I'm just glad to be here and looking forward to continued growth.
Absolutely. All right. You take care. Appreciate you.
Thanks a lot. See ya.